Hey guys, welcome to Dragon's Cave. Going to do an experiment today. I've got these they're pen holders. I don't know if you can see the detail there. They're owls. So I'm going to try something I haven't seen anybody else do on YouTube. Feel free to correct me. I like to give credit where it's due. So the first one, I'm actually going to try using wool in resin. Kind of seen people mix wool with resin into a block before they turn it. I've seen people coat outside of jars and bowls in wool, but I've never seen anybody put wool directly into the mould. So I'm going to go off, mix up my resin, and I'll be back for the next part. See you in a bit. Okay, I'm back. I've got my resin mixed up. I'm using Resin Pro Eye Crystal. I've mixed up 180 grams, which is 120 grams of resin and 60 grams of hardener. Now, I don't really want to colour this because I want you to see the wool, but I'm going to use some of this, it's kind of like a copper coloured, I suppose, floating glitter. I'm going to put quite a lot in there. Whether it floats or not is anybody's guess, but I'm sure there will be gaps in the wool. So I want something in there, obviously. So I'd rather not have too many clear patches. I think that's enough. That's mixed in quite well. So I've taken some wool off the roll. I kind of rolled it around my hands. So I'm hoping I'll be able to pop it straight in. I suspect I'm going to have to chop it up into bits, but we'll find out. Find out together. So I'm going to put enough in there to soak through the wool. But what I'm also going to do is I'm going to pop a little bit into the bottom of the mould. Give it a quick squirt of isopropyl alcohol first. So it does have some detail in the mould where the feathers are and the eyes. So I want to try and get it as bubble free as possible. So I'm going to pop some of this into the mould just to give it a bit of a squish at the bottom. To make sure that there are no, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here, I hope you can. Just squeezing it around the bottom. Try and make sure there are no bubbles in there. And let's get this soaked in. This is going to be messy. And to make sure all the wool is soaked, obviously. Oops. Any dry bits of wool are going to cause a problem. I probably haven't made up enough resin, to be honest, but I can always top it up if I need to. Yeah, grabbing that with a hand covered in resin was not the best idea I've ever had. Let's pop that in the cup. It's doing pretty well actually, soaked in most of it. The wool is a lot darker than now that it's wet. I'm hoping it dries to show the change in the colour, but it doesn't matter if it doesn't. Got the pretty glitter in there. This is going to be a very big mess, and I can already see I'm going to struggle with that. I'm not going to be able to get it in there, am I? So plan B, get a pair of scissors after I wipe my hands. Should have done this in the first place, but I do like to show when I make mistakes so that you don't do the same. Most of the resin off with the kitchen roll, and just luckily they're cheap scissors. They'll never be fit to use again. I'm just trying to make sure my hands aren't too slippery while I'm doing this. Okay, so let's grab the scissors and start chopping. I don't know if you've ever tried cutting wet wool, it's not that easy. Okay, so now that we made a complete and utter mess of everything, I'm going to start pushing this down into the mould. I may fast forward through this as well. I haven't decided yet. Try and get it down as far down as I can. My hands are so slippery, this is quite difficult. The resin's getting quite warm as well. It's a very hot day here in Spain. It is, I think, before 10 o'clock this morning it was already over 30 degrees. There we go, push right down there. I'm trying to make sure I don't get too many air bubbles. So in common with a lot of people during COVID, I decided to take up a new hobby, which was knitting. Well, didn't last long, but like most crafters, I got carried away buying supplies, so I have got a lot of wool lying around. I discovered knitting wasn't for me very quickly, but by then I'd already bought a lot of stuff. I think every crafter does that, takes up a new hobby, buys tons of supplies. Doesn't necessarily enjoy the hobby very long. I did quite like knitting. I made a few bits for my grandchildren, but I like knitting small, fast pieces. As I've said many times, I don't have a lot of patience, and things like knitting jumpers is far too boring for me. So I mostly knitted toys. So difficult. This is so messy. I can't even pick the mould up properly to get around it. Resin's going everywhere, as you can probably see. I'm going to have a lot of cleaning up to do after this. Although hopefully I'll be able to rescue some of this and put it actually into the mould. Okay, we're about as done as we're going to be. I'm going to check it out, try and figure out how to switch my camera off. Then I might just leave it running until I can take my gloves off. And just hope the battery doesn't go flat. So that's about it. Can't see any air bubbles in there, but nor can I pick the mould up to check. So I'm going to leave you there. And after all this, it had better work. I can see a gap. Okay, I'm going to try find something to switch my phone off with. And I will see you later. Bye. Okay, I'm back. And for the second owl mould, I'm actually going to be doing it in Aqua resin. Now, I've tried marbling a couple of times with this before and it hasn't really worked. So we'll try it slightly differently this way. Still don't think it's going to work, but I'm going to give it a go. So I've got 400 grams of powder here. I've got a total of 120 grams of liquid. I've got 105 grams in here. Now it's extremely hot today, as I said previously, so I need to really get this done quite quickly. I may have to put a little extra water in because I've kept some back for the second colour. But let's see how we get on. This generally mixes really well. I don't think having a little extra liquid in would be a bad thing. It's very, very thick. Where's my bottle of emergency water? This is not water that I drink, by the way. Okay, that's probably about an extra 10 grams in there. I apologise in advance if there's any background noise. I haven't figured out which of one of my microphones is dodgy. When I work it out, I'll mark them and we'll find out. Okay, so I'm going to use this, I think it's burnt umber, the colour. To get the base colour. I'm thinking I've probably mixed up a little too much powder, but it's not a big deal. I've got other things I can pop it into. Okay. This all seems to be mixed in well. I'm not seeing any lumps. I'm seeing a few bubbles. I don't know what that is. It's just pulled up outside. Motorbike, I believe. I'm hoping it's not interfering too much with the sound. So I've got a little pot here that I've mixed up some dark brown in with some water. Yeah, that absolutely is not going to work. Oh well, never mind. Okay, that is going to do. And I'm hoping that we'll get some kind of marbling, but I really doubt it. Let's grab my mould quickly. I'm going to have to buy myself a bowl instead of just stealing my husband's, because I could do with one that had has a bit of a spout on it, really. Almost there, and yes, I've mixed up far too much. It's already getting quite thick too. Okay, give that a tap. Hopefully release any bubbles in there. Gonna pop that over there. I'm gonna go and find something else to throw this into before it goes off, and I'll see you shortly. Bye. Hey guys, we're back again, ready for the demold. I probably should have taken this out ages ago, but I thought I'd wait and do everything at the same time. This is not a particularly stretchy mould, but I'm hoping that I can just roll it down. Yeah, so the colouring at the moment doesn't look too bad, but I'm pretty sure I put too much water in, which is one of the reasons I left it a little longer. Down you go, come on. Yeah, it's kind of patchy and it's sticking. The powder seems to have stuck to the mould in places, which is why I'm guessing it was just too wet. Almost there. I can just get this edge over. There we go. As you can see by the state of the mould, it's not done too great, but all in all, I'm actually quite pleased with this. There aren't many bubbles. It is a little weirdly not set, but as I said, I think that's, I'll put this extra light on, it's a bit chilly, a bit dark out here. The marbling actually didn't work too badly, but I do have some bubbles here, but also it's not properly set in patches, and I think that's to do with when I put the darker one in, and it didn't. There's quite a lot of bubbles around here actually, all the way down this side, hardly any this side. Weird, but okay. I'm going to clean that off before I turn it back the other way around. So I'll just pop that to the side. Let me get something to wipe this off. Okay, that's better. Now I do have quite a lot of overpour here. It's entirely my fault. To be fair, more things are my fault. Usually if there's a problem, it's something I've done rather than the actual moulds or the resin. So let's try, oops, try peeling this down like I did with the other one. Hope you can see I'm trying to keep this in shot. I do prefer, where possible, to actually film my demolds. It's half the fun for you, I think. Here. Just get this over the lip. Here we go. The easiest way to get things like this out of the mould is just grab it and give it a bit of a twist. Excuse me. So there we go. Very few bubbles. You can't actually tell that it's wood in there, wool, sorry, unfortunately. I mean, you can kind of see at the bottom that there are gaps. And you can just about make it out at the tip here. I think my colour choice wasn't great. I went with something that I had here which I thought would look good in an owl, but on the whole I'm not distressed about it. I think it's pretty good. I'll paint in the eyes and the beak. I'm going to leave this a little longer to dry out. I'm not upset about it. It's okay. As I said, it's not dry where I put the darker colour in. The whole thing actually feels quite damp. Maybe I should have taken out the mould earlier, I don't know, but overall I kind of got the effect, sort of. This one, I think it's turned out really well. If and when I use wool again, which I almost certainly will do quite soon, I'll go for different colours, something with more of a contrast, just so that you can actually tell what's in it, really. As I said, I'll get the detail painted in, I'll get you some photos, I'll give that 24 hours and seal it up, and see you all for the next one. Bye.